Chinese is the most widely spoken language in the world, and soon here in Houston, as you've heard Lois mentioning, we will have an immersion elementary school, a Chinese immersion elementary school at Holden Elementary. Now, this is designed to give young students a leg up in a competitive world. Now, this is very interesting to me. I think that it's a good idea, I suppose, to be able to have our children read and understand Chinese. It is the most widely spoken language in the world because there are so many Chinese in the world. I don't know if it's as widely spoken here in the United States as it would be in other places, but certainly I suppose it is a good idea. Let's get more information from Martha Blackwelder. She's the executive director of the Asia Society of Houston. Martha, welcome to Houston's Morning News.
Thank you.
Now, I was just mentioning that I understand Chinese is the most widely spoken language, but certainly here in the United States, you don't hear it as much as you would hear it, certainly in Asia, correct?
Of course.
So I guess my question would be then, why do we need a Chinese immersion elementary school right now in the HISD?
Well, I think it's really important to recognize our future. And if we're able to educate Houston's young people in Chinese, then they'll have a real leg up in the race to succeed in our global world. And, Houston does a great deal of business with China, so it really is at our advantage to focus on this opportunity.
Are kids going to have to be able to test into this school? I would assume every child is not going to be able to go into the Chinese immersion elementary school.
Asia Society is not as involved in the HISD school, so I can't answer that exact question. I would imagine, though, if it is a K through 12 or first grade through 12, that they wouldn't necessarily have to test right into the school.
But the parents would have to want their children...
Absolutely,
okay.
Yes, absolutely.
And I understand that all of the classes will be taught in Chinese. For instance, even, say, algebra, which I could never understand in English, would now be taught in Chinese.
I'm sure that they have a curriculum that would allow a progression toward that. But, yes, that sounds like it's the plan.
With all due respect, algebra and math was Chinese to me anyway when I was going to school. Again, I see the need going forward, but I have a question that I need to ask you. If you would hang on, Martha.
Sure.
I want to ask you about maybe some other immersion schools that we might take a look at. And Martha Blackwelder is the executive director of the Asia Society of Houston. The new immersion elementary school, Chinese immersion elementary school at Holden Elementary is what we're talking about. Martha, I have to say, wouldn't it be a better idea for us here in Houston to enroll our kids in an English immersion school? I mean, A, there's an awful lot of people that can't speak the language at all, and B, some of them that are speaking the language are speaking it incorrectly. Shouldn't we start there?
Of course, English language is critical. I think that, that's obviously a very, very important priority. But I think it's also really important to recognize that more people, and this is going to blow your mind, more people speak Mandarin Chinese as a native language than live in the entire U.S. And I think when
but they're not here, Martha. They're in Asia.
They're not here. But when you look at all of the business in the future, it's important to recognize this skill set. And yes, absolutely, English language is our critical priority. But I think that this HISD program is offering families an opportunity that they don't have to take. It's simply an opportunity, and I think that's good. And I think really Houston represents opportunity-driven thinking, and it makes sense to me.
Martha, listen, I don't disagree with you at all. I think it does make sense. I think it makes a lot of sense, and for the reasons that you've stated here this morning. I would also like to see HISD do a lot more in making sure that people can speak English, especially people that have come from somewhere else and have not learned the language.
Absolutely.
So that here right now, as we begin to educate our children into how to speak Mandarin, let's make sure everyone's speaking English as well, so that just going forward in the short term, we can communicate with each other.
Well, it's all important, and communication is the number one priority. I think that you would agree.
I would agree. And that's what I do for a living. I try and communicate as best I can.
Great.
Martha, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Merry Christmas to you. Thanks, Matt.